Urgent dirty birds. Fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we bring you daily videos with the latest Dirty Birds news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Falcons completely revamped defense in Mel Kiper's final mock draft. The Falcons' defense, as currently constructed, isn't quite moving. Terry Fontenot swapped out Grady Jarrett, Matthew Judon, and Justin Simmons for Morgan Fox, Leonard Floyd, and Jordan Fuller. As one NFL executive put it, Atlanta essentially swapped average for average. There are two notable differences between last year's defense and this year. First, and perhaps most importantly, Raheem Morris fired his good friend Jimmy Lake and hired his old friend Jeff Ulbrich. Seemingly every single player on the defense regressed under Lake. One of the only examples where a player exceeded expectations was Mike Hughes. Hell, there was miscommunication in the final game of the season in a secondary that featured 3 former All-Pros. If that's not coaching, I don't know what is. The other potentially notable difference is the 2025 draft class. I say potentially notable because if we look at Fontenot's track record, it might be overzealous to expect a significant impact from the Falcons' rookie class this season. The front office has to hit on their draft picks and Mel Kiper's final mock draft has them completely revamping defense. 15 Atlanta Falcons Mike Green, OLB, marshal it almost seems too simple. Atlanta had the second fewest sacks in the NFL last season, 31. Green had the most sacks in the FBS, 17. Suddenly, there'd be some optimism around the pass rush, with Green and free agent signing Leonard Floyd flying in off the edge. Green mixes in speed and power to keep offensive tackles on their heels, and his ability to stop the run means coach Raheem Morris could keep him on the field, no matter the situation. If things play out this way, he'd be the second highest drafted Marshall player in the common draft era. Byron Leftwich went 7th in 2003. It is that simple. The Falcons haven't been able to consistently get after the passer in what feels like a lifetime, and Mike Green led the country in sacks last season. Outside of Abdul Carter, Green is the best pure pass rusher in the class. There are off-the-field concerns, and the Falcons have thrown around the word ethos more than any other organization. Is there a chance that Atlanta doesn't see Green as a fit in the organization as a person? Perhaps, but at a certain point, the Falcons have to trust the culture they've built. They didn't with Jalen Carter, but Mike Green could be the exception. The only other issue is that the Marshall product might not even be available when the Falcons are on the clock. If he is, a rotation of Mike Green, Arnold Ebiketie, and Leonard Floyd on the edge is the most inspiring unit in a long time. The Falcons could do much worse. 46. Atlanta Falcons Benjamin Morrison, CB Notre Dame Morrison, looked like a first-rounder early in the 2024 season before a hip injury ended his campaign. Has an extremely talented press corner with good technique. Opponents completed passes at will against Atlanta last season. The Falcons 69. 9 completion percentage against was bottom of the league. To help fix the problem, Morrison could take away receivers as the CB2 opposite A.J. Terrell. Plus, with 9 career picks, he has the ball skills to create turnovers. That is what I love to see. Instead of taking traditionally invaluable positions like tight end, running back, offensive guard, and safety in the first 2 rounds of the draft, Kiper has the Falcons taking 2 of the most valuable cornerback and edge rusher. Benjamin Morrison could provide value because of his injury. A first-round talent in the second round could be just what the doctor ordered for an Atlanta team that is desperate to add talent anywhere on the defensive side of the ball. Morrison competing for the starting boundary role with Mike Hughes could result in the veteran kicking inside to the slot, which would push Clark Phillips and D. Alford into depth roles. That's ideal. Finding 2 day 1 starters in the first and second rounds should be a priority for the Falcons, and the duo of Morrison and Green could be just that. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Dirty Birds news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Atlanta Falcons re-sign former starting defensive back. The Atlanta Falcons announced they are resigning starting nickel D. Alford to add depth to the secondary. The Atlanta Falcons have resigned cornerback D. Alford, it announced in a press release. Monday, Alford entered the offseason as a restricted free agent, but the Falcons did not tender him, making the 27-year-old an unrestricted free agent. Now, the two sides prepare for a fourth season together. Since signing with the Falcons in the spring of 2022, after a successful season with the CFL's Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Alford has played in 16 games each of the past 3 seasons. Alford started a career-high 11 games in 2024, serving as Atlanta's nickel corner. He set career highs with 83 tackles, the third most on the team, and 11 passes defended, but Alford struggled in coverage. He allowed 67 catches for 606 yards and 8 touchdowns on 92 targets, according to Pro Football Reference. He was 87th out of 116 qualified corners, according to Pro Football Focus. The Falcons subsequently chose to let Alford hit the open market, and head coach Raheem Morris, who spoke with reporters April 1st at the NFL owners' meeting in Palm Beach, Flauticasas, expressed confidence in his team's nickel situation. Morris touted the Falcons' in-house options, headlined by versatile corners in Mike Hughes and Clark Phillips III. "We're obviously looking forward to adding people, doing different things, and really finding a way," Morris said, later returning to the skill sets of Hughes and Phillips. Flexibility of having a Mike, having a Clark, trying to create flexibility of having Clark is something that really excites you. Alford also gives the Falcons more flexibility on draft weekend. Atlanta now has each of its top 4 corners from last season under contract, and while it's seeking upgrades, it has a safer floor than before. The Falcons don't have to draft a cornerback to survive in 2025, but if they're targeting an elevated ceiling, they may be better off if they do. If they're unable to address the secondary, it means they probably poured more resources into the pass rush, which should improve everyone on defense. Safety Justin Simmons, looking for best situation in free agency, hopes to sign before training. Campan apparent one and done with the Atlanta Falcons after 8 seasons as a Denver Bronco. Safety Justin Simmons is again on the market looking for a team. Last year, the 2-time Pro Bowler took until mid-August to sign a deal, a timeline he'd prefer to accelerate this time around. "That's always the goal," he said Tuesday on Up Adams in regards to finding a fit earlier than in 2024. "I think, yes, there's pros and cons to training camp. Cons is going through it, your body breaking down, the whole 9, especially as you get older. But a lot of the pros is building that rapport, especially when you're not with the team and you haven't necessarily played with a lot of those guys. I think it would have benefited me to go a little bit earlier, but it also just wasn't in the cards. We'll see. I want to go to the best situation, and I want to go a team that's going to win. So, we'll see what that looks like." Simmons still performed with the Falcons despite playing catch-up. He logged 62 tackles, 7 passes defensed, and collected 2 interceptions to bring his career total to 32. But he also snapped a 5-year streak of being a Pro Bowler or second-team All-Pro or both, like in 2023. Atlanta also fired defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake, forecasting change on the horizon that Simmons understands likely involves a youth movement rather than retaining someone like him. At the end of the day, I think highly of Raw coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot and owner Arthur Blank, and I think the organization is top-notch, Simmons said. "I do think they're gonna be great. It was a 1-year thing. They like their younger guys. 2. Sometimes things don't work out and you go in different directions. I don't know if the door's necessarily closed, but we'll see. If not back to the Falcons, where does he go next?" Simmons is heading into his age 32 season, still a great veteran option, ranked no .71 overall in Greg Rosenthal's top free agents. At this point in his career, he's in mercenary mode and looking for a place to win, having never experienced a postseason game during his 9 years of play. Did it make sense then for him to consider the 2 clubs that just appeared in Super Bowl LIX? The Philadelphia Eagles could have a need after trading safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Houston Texans. Plus, defensive coordinator Vic Fangio was Simmons' head coach from 2019-2021. Such familiarity might make adding Simmons a little later less of an issue. There was a lot of new in Atlanta. There was a new system. There was a new way to do it, Simmons said. "Going to Philly with Vic. You know exactly what you're getting out of me, and I know exactly what I'm getting out of them because I've been in the system. I still have a ways to go to mastering it, but there are some things and nuances that I know Vic likes, that I know that defensive backs coach Christian Parker likes, and I think I could really help in that area." Obviously, them moving on from CJ and what he's poured into that city there is big shoes to fill, but I love what they have going with Reed Blankenship and the rest of the supporting cast there. So I don't know, it's interesting. I'm excited to see what happens. Conversely, there's also the Kansas City Chiefs dethroned by Philadelphia after 2 straight Super Bowl victories. Such a move could be bittersweet for Simmons after he spent most of his career going head-to-head. With them in an AFC West battle lopsided in Kansas City's favor, am I shutting that door? Am I closing it? No, but I want to be the team that beats them, the former Broncos safety said. I'm not closing that door. I'm not that incompetent to think if Kansas City wanted me to come through, I wouldn't. But I just want to beat them, man. Wherever he goes, Simmons still has plenty to offer a contending team in need of leadership and production. Now, several stages into free agency, and with the draft upcoming, pieces will continue to fall into place for teams. Eventually, Simmons will be one of them. And now, Dirty Birds. Fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Dirty Birds. I'll be back any moment with more Dirty Birds. News ATL. ATL. Rise up.